So as a fan of both new technology and audio equipment, something has come along which promises to satisfy both of those passions. Today I'm having a look at the Kapture Wristband, the wearable that listens to your life. So as I said, this is a brand new wristband. As a matter of full disclosure, the makers have actually sent me this copy for review purposes. But anyway, let's have a look at the overview of the Kapture Wristband. So the whole premise of the Kapture Wristband is that we will have moments in our lives where we just wish we could have had it recorded. So perhaps you wanted to have a picture of it, or you wanted to just capture it somehow, but by the time you get your camera out or any other way of documenting it, the moment is gone. Perhaps, for example, you had a friend who told an awesome joke that you wish you could share with people. Well, the Kapture Wristband, this little device here, is the answer to those prayers. It's constantly listening to everything and everyone around you, and when you hear something that you want to save, you just tap it twice and the last 60 seconds will be saved to your phone. As a concept, I'm really on board with it because I'm very anxious about missing special events or preserving some unique part of your daily life, and the promise of the device is really appealing to me. So we're going to have a look now and see whether that concept translates into reality. So having a look at the product and the design to begin with, it's very well made, it's comfortable to wear, it's got a rubber strap and a clasp system akin to some of the fitness trackers out there. It has a minimal design, which you can see there, and it has a single flashing LED on the front underneath that grille to indicate the status. And inside there is housed all of the mechanisms like the microphone, the accelerometer. And finally, there is an option to be a bit more expressive. You can interchange the straps and the grills to have different colors to make it a bit more bold and unique. So that's how it looks, but how does it work? Charging the Kapture Wristband for about 30 minutes will provide enough charge for around about a day's usage, although during the course of my test I did find that a longer charge would actually guarantee that, and towards the end of my testing period I just put it on charge overnight. When the device is charging, a flashing red LED is initiated, and apparently when the device is fully charged, I believe there should be a solid red LED. I haven't actually seen that, so perhaps that's either a problem with the device itself or some discrepancy in the documentation. Briefly, while on the subject of charging, I do have a slight annoyance I have to air, and that's having yet another proprietary charging cable. Now, I'm sure there was some design reason or technical decision as to why they couldn't go for the perhaps more ubiquitous micro USB, but it still doesn't save me from having to have and keep track of yet another different charging cable to take along with me when I'm going traveling. So anyway, with your device charged, the first thing you'd need to do to get it to work is to pair it with your device. This works via Bluetooth, and the pairing process is actually really simple. You just tap the device 4 times and the device vibrates the corresponding amount of times to let you know that it is now in the discoverable state. After that, you just go to your Bluetooth settings on your phone and select the Kapture Wristband, and then the pairing is complete. Now, thankfully, you only have to do this once, and during the course of my tests, I found this to be a very reliable process. And however, with us carrying around phones that demand so much energy, some people may be put off by the prospect of having to have their Bluetooth on all day. So that could be a consideration. Something I did do during the course of my test was to just switch off the Bluetooth at times when I knew I wouldn't need it, and then when I had a capture that I wanted to save, I would then switch on the Bluetooth. There is a function within the Kapture Wristband to save a certain number of clips in its internal memory for the periods of time when it can't find a Bluetooth setting, or a Bluetooth connection I should say, and then when the Bluetooth reinitializes, it should sync back to your phone and save all those clips. Now, I did have some success doing this, but simply initiating the Bluetooth on your phone isn't sufficient enough to trigger the device to actually send over the clips. You have to then reinitialize, resave a clip to send that one and all the other ones. So it's just something to think about. The device actually works using an accelerometer to detect taps on the wristband, but I think taps perhaps is a bit softer word, because what you're really doing is you're just slapping your wrist, and one slap does nothing. The LED simply flashes orange to indicate that a small tap has been detected. 2 slaps will save the last 60 seconds of audio that it's picked up and will send that via Bluetooth to your phone. The rhythm that you need to get can be quite tricky, but after a couple of days then that got easier, and I soon got myself into the nice rhythm and the nice habit of doing it. It's really quite fun. Once you slap the device twice, you'll get 2 corresponding vibrations to let you know that the device has registered your input, and then the device will start flashing with a orange LED which shows you that it's looking for your phone to send the audio to. Now after that, the sequence of flashing and vibrating gets a wee bit complicated as the device tries to convey each step of the transfer process through a series of flashes and vibrations. You have to check the documentation to sort of see what all this translates to, but I just had to look at the app to see whether the transfer had actually completed. 3 slaps switches the device off, and during my testing I had a bit of trouble with this function. After I'd switched it off by tapping it 3 times, I had trouble getting it back on, and I'd have to then plug it back into its charger to get it to sort of jumpstart, as if you will, to get back on. It's not a major problem, but it is something to bear in mind. And as previously mentioned, 4 slaps will initiate the Bluetooth pairing process. So once you have the audio, you're going to want to do something with it, and that's where the app comes in. Now, when you first load up the app, you obviously have to go through a little bit of setting up, but once that's done, you'll be presented with 3 main screens. Apart from the generic settings page, you have all of your saved clips, the clips of people that you are following, and a search page. If I get back to my clips, I can show you a little bit of the interface. The first thing that I have to say is that I've got a minor annoyance with the way that you can start playing a clip either by pressing the background or pressing the play button in the top left. But as soon as you move up to navigate away from the clip or even to scroll around, the clip stops playing. It's a little bit annoying, and hopefully something that will be improved in a future update, because it's certainly something that we've got used to working in other apps. So I've just initiated a clip transfer on my device, and as you can see on the app, the clip is being transferred onto my device. And there it is at the top. I have a couple of options to begin with. If I decide that it was a mistake, I can go ahead and delete it straight away using the rubbish bin icon on the right hand side. Or I can click edit and publish and get this clip ready for sharing. To start with, I can add a description. Then I can assign a category. For this one, I think I will choose informative. Then you notice the icons underneath the category. The first one is the trim tool. Here I can pull the handle from the left and from the right to change the start and stop point of the clip. Once I'm happy, I can press the trim tool and the edit is complete. Next, I have some basic audio filters and adjustments which helps tidy up the audio quality a little bit, but I find that on most occasions the default setting to auto is the most useful, so I can assign that. Following that, I can assign a picture, but during my tests I was unable to actually take a picture from within the application and was forced to select a pre-existing picture from my library. A minor annoyance and something that adds a couple of seconds to your work process. Now once that's done, you can make the location either public or private, and finally you can set the privacy settings. Now I'm going to go ahead and click save, and as you can see from the notification at the top, that clip is now being sent up to the cloud. The app itself has a few quirks and bugs, but on the whole it's fairly reliable. You know, you get given choices like comment and share and other generic things. Now, one gripe that I do have with the app is that the audio is currently quite locked into their ecosystem, and as somebody who likes to have control over their media and the content that I create, I do like to have a backup of everything that I make. Especially given that the premise of the Kapture wristband is to capture those special and unique moments in your life. So I would feel really more comfortable having an easier way of getting hold of the audio. Now, the makers do assure me that they're working towards a more open solution with possible integration with the very popular automation website If This Then That, but at the moment we've sort of got a really weird workaround, and the only way to actually get your audio out of the app is to share it using the app's share icon, either sending that via Dropbox or email, and then opening up that email on your computer, which will then take you to the page on a web browser, and from that page you'll then be given a download link so you can save the audio. And even then, once you have the audio, your hassles aren't exactly over, because all of that metadata that you put into it, like your description and your picture and the time that it was saved and created, doesn't follow the audio. So you'll get given this bit of audio without any of the corresponding information. So that's something that I've maybe been a bit spoiled with by using services like Audio Boom. So where you download the audio there, all of that stuff comes in, you know, as standard. So maybe that's something that they can change and improve in the future. Now that you have your audio, I suppose the most important thing is how it sounds, and that brings us to quality. Now, the audio quality is something I've been wrestling with for the entire time I've been testing the device. I started off being quite underwhelmed by the performance of the microphone, especially considering that crowdfunding campaigns are being run right now which feature some truly impressive, lightweight, low-powered but high-quality microphones. So given that this device is dedicated to one task, you would have thought that sound quality and the microphone would have been of paramount quality. So let's have a listen to what that sounded like from the perspective of the Kapture wristband. Given that this device is dedicated to one task, you would have thought that sound quality and the microphone would have been of paramount quality. Well, as you can tell, it's not exactly broadcast quality, but over the week or so I've mellowed out a bit and come to realise that the purpose is not to capture high quality or high definition audio or anything that you're necessarily wanting to broadcast. But if the device manages to capture a touching moment between you and your child, or a laugh out loud memory that you're going to share with your friends for years to come, then you're not going to be too bothered or snobbish about what sort of noise floor it had, or whether you should have had a high pass filter on it, or whether you had more gain control or anything like that. You're just going to be thankful, I believe, that you had a device like this which was keeping an ear out for those special moments. I suppose it's akin to when you used to watch old family videos from your camcorders. You know, back in the day when you would have been lucky enough to have one video a month rather than the ubiquitous media capture that we have today. When you look back at those old videos, you get the emotions of nostalgia and happiness and the appreciation for the special things. And I doubt you're being critical as whether it's overexposed or not, or lamenting the fact that there's no optical stabilization. So anyway, I think you get my point. So sure, the audio quality isn't fantastic, and I'm sure it's going to be something that's going to be improved along, you know, with future versions of the device. But as you can tell, it's still easy to make out what you're saying and what other people are saying, which also then brings me on to the issue of privacy. Now, we all have to accept that we're living in a world where more and more people have access to more and more devices which can capture audio and video and images. For example, Google Glass being able to record high quality video, cyclists like myself using GoPro cameras to record their rides, and things like Autographer, which continuously takes images throughout the course of the day. And now we have the Kapture wristband. The makers address the issue of privacy by saying that the device is a fairly distinct object, and even without the option of having a brightly coloured grille or anything like that, so it can't be mistaken for some surreptitious spy device. And it also encourages users to be open and honest about what they're doing. And it is true that the onus of responsibility is on the user. I've had a number of opportunities to have conversations with people about the wristband who have been a little bit put off and perturbed by the idea of being constantly monitored. But I've managed to reassure them by saying that their incriminating conversations aren't being beamed up to some central intelligence somewhere in the cloud. And obviously I'm respectful in the choices of the clips that I save, but the issue of privacy also comes into play with regards to my activities as an environmental campaigner. Now, my work spans the whole gamut from letter writing through to direct action, and knowing that I've got a device like this which might be able to pick up on some conversation or throwaway comment that could possibly help me out at a later date is quite reassuring. I'm also involved in activism and associations which deal with human rights abuses, and I've seen far too many videos online where authorities have tried to suppress the truth by confiscating citizens' cameras. So perhaps a device like this could be another layer of insurance. I think my personal use for the Kapture is going to be a lot more about capturing moments with my friends and family, but I do think it's going to be an interesting addition to a fast developing landscape for activists and concerned citizens looking for change. So if you've been tempted by the Kapture wristband, you're going to want to know how much it costs. At the time of this review, the Kapture wristband is still at $99 pre-order, which is around about £64 sterling. So it's not the most expensive bit of kit for your wrist, but it's still enough not for it to be an impulse purchase. At the moment, I think it's fairly well priced, but I do still wonder if it's going to be anything more than a niche product, which brings me on to my conclusion. So, make no mistake, despite its flaws, the imperfections and the niggles associated with the Kapture wristband, I like it. I like it a lot. Sure, the audio quality isn't perfect, and it leads to some awkward moments when my friends think I'm spying on them, but I'm comforted knowing that some of the best moments and experiences that I have, i.e. the ones for which you don't have a camera for, are now captured in some form or another. It's clearly not for everybody, and as a watch enthusiast, it's having to compete for space on my wrist, but for the time being, it's staying there. Well, I hope you enjoyed this review, and many thanks for watching. If you have any questions, then please do get in touch, and I look forward to speaking to you, as always, really soon. Bye-bye for now. Didn't work.